Miles behind me, miles before me, miles of words were left unsaid. Know that you should fight, know what you should fight for. Welcome to Brazil. Brazil is the largest nation in South America and consists of a variety of geographical zones such as highlands, plateaus, forests, and wetlands. Its coast lies adjacent to the Atlantic Ocean and measures 7,491 kilometers, making it the 17th longest national coastline in the world. Brazil is home to the well-known Amazon rainforest and river. Brazil is mostly tropical, with more temperate climates in the southern zones. However, the varying sea levels combined with the sheer size of the country cause it to fall under four zones: equatorial, semi-arid, highland tropical, and subtropical. The rainforests are found in the equatorial climate, causing constant precipitation and generally similar daytime temperatures, varying from 25 to 33 degrees Celsius. Semi-arid is a climate that receives less precipitation than it requires to make up for evaporation, but not so much to consider it a desert. Highland tropical requires an annual mean temperature of 18 degrees Celsius or greater and receives rain throughout the year. Lastly, the subtropical zone is hot in summers, but not hot enough to qualify as tropical, with cool winters just warm enough to prevent snow or frost. The rainfall varies depending on elevation. Brazil follows a federal presidential republic governmental structure. Like America, it has an executive, legislative, and judicial branch, and government officials hold terms in office, but instead of an electoral voting system, they are voted in by 2/3 popular vote. Brazil is broken up into 26 states, all under the control of a centralized federal government. Although Brazil has no declared enemies, they do have neighbor disputes in regards to border control with Uruguay and illegal imports with Colombia. Their main problems are inner turmoil, having just impeached their president, and are conflicted on whether or not to once again return to a military state. Brazil exports many things, but they're most known for their exports of coffee, cocoa, tobacco, and soybeans. Even though they're known for those four products, it doesn't necessarily mean they make their top 10 export list. Unlike their list of relatively luxury exports, Brazil's imports focus mostly on products that the agricultural industry would rely on. Brazil's main currency is the Brazilian real. In the national currency exchange, it is 1 real to every 30 US cents. Although the economy is unstable, Brazil's government is making efforts to help stabilize it. The state of the economy is currently on the upward turn and is expected to recover by 2017. The country's gross domestic product rate is $3,192 billion US. Although it is 1/5 of the United States GDP, it accounts for nearly 3% of the world's combined GDP. The GDP adjusted for inflation against the 2000 US dollar, or real GDP, is $2,320 billion. Statistically speaking, inflation has dropped 3.8% from the previous year in Brazil. The per capita GDP of Brazil is $15,600. This is fairly in line with global per capita GDP of $15,700. The inflation rate started much higher this year and is on a significant drop. Inflation was an average of 9.01% in 2015, and as of September has gone to 9.34%. Inequality of wealth in Brazil would be better understood when considering the geography of the country. Financially, the country is split into two regions, the North and South. The South is responsible for much of the major exports in the country, and 3 states in the Southeast region account for over half of the entire country's gross domestic product output. On the other hand, the North relies mostly on tourist activities and lower-level industrial activity. According to Bloomberg News, this isn't the end of it. Despite the political disruption in Brazil, the richest in the country are getting richer at a rate that is 10 times greater than that of the world's 400 richest individuals. Despite this, the employment rate is at 67%, which is slightly higher than average worldwide. Of these employed workers, 79% of men and 56% of women are in paid positions. 46% of adults have completed upper secondary education. Brazil's infrastructure, although there, needs some development. The government is in the process of doing just this by opening up bids to infrastructure development to the private sector. In conclusion, Brazil is a developed country that, although flawed, gives a scenic backdrop with a multitude of locations for our hero to travel. It is similar enough to our country that makes it easily manageable, but not so much that we should just shoot here in the States. The poor economic standpoint gives for cheap, eager labor and low production costs. Civil unrest is present, but the country is safe for tourists and, in fact, caters to them heavily on the northern side of the country. This is an excellent location to shoot the video.